In an environment where you have high rates of unemployment and there's unhealthy workloads on you day in, day out, I'm supposing the person is describing Nigeria, and also no labor law in place to protect your rights. So what's your advice to individuals who are in these situations?
All right, so it's a very dicey situation. You can see the word unhealthy workload, and you have no labor law protecting you. And what advice would you give to these individuals? Number one, you have identified that the work is unhealthy. You have to also be sincere with yourself. Is it really unhealthy or you are just being lazy? So if it's truly unhealthy, you need to be bold enough to speak with your boss. But if you work in an organization that you cannot even do that, I am saying this because I have experienced this life before. But I finished from LASU, and I was born and bred in Bariga. There is, I know sometimes consequence of, by the nature of these two places that I've mentioned, sometimes I face a situation where even when I know the consequence, that it may be negative consequence. So sometimes may just take one person to speak up, summon the courage politely to express the feeling of the others to the management, and they will listen. In 2010, 2009, 2010, where I was working, this happened. And it was happening for like 3 months. We used to grumble, everybody would be grumbling. So I faced the executive then, and then one of them said, what gave you the gut? I said, it's no gut, I'm just expressing myself. There's no gut. I knew that it was challenging me, but I just tried to turn it into a friendly discussion. I said, this is the mind of most of us, but they didn't know. So what gave you the gut to come? I said, because very soon, most of these people, including myself, we may leave when you need us most. It wasn't a friendly discussion, it wasn't an easy discussion at that time, but 2 days later, the executive director called everyone, and the story changed from there. And then that alone gave me promotion in that place. So sometimes you need to summon the courage to say it. The situation of Nigeria, to be honest, unemployment, there are 20,000 people waiting for you to be sacked, for them to come to take that job that is not even enough for you. So in that situation, you need to employ communication intelligence, know how to present your case, know when and know who, and be ready for the consequence. Because if you want to fight for the majority, be ready for the consequence. Even when I expressed it to the boss, we were in the meeting, he asked, okay, who else is facing this? Nobody was talking. Until when he said, feel free, Taiwo said it. And they said, okay, sir, yes, okay, sir, yes, okay, sir, yes. So you have to speak up. But at the same time, to an extent, you need to sacrifice. I currently work as a program director managing West and Central Africa. At the same time, I volunteer for PMI as the Vice President, Professional Development for Nigerian chapter. And then I have my personal life. How do I balance this? Is to prioritize and sacrifice sometimes. I have to deprive myself. I joined PMI because I feel I have a lot to give. And I am giving back to a society that are giving so much to me. And if I have planned to take up that role, then I need to sacrifice. The same thing about our work. So it's not always when it's convenient or easy for you. Sometimes it may not be, the scenario may not be like that. We have to be practical and be sincere, especially with this part of the world. So when you find yourself in this situation, just talk to yourself that the sacrifice is for a while. It's not going to last forever. What I faced 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's not, at this point, I dictate the terms. At some point, I was being dictated to, that this is it, take it or you leave it. But at this point, it's not even I will not even accept it in the first place. So it depends on the stage And also know that at every stage, sometimes you need to sacrifice. And when this, but don't sacrifice at the expense of your life. If you feel, don't compare yourself with someone else. If somebody is able to work for 18 hours, that is his business. If your strength cannot take more than 9 hours, 8 hours, please don't compare yourself with others. Your life is more important than the job you are doing. So where the law is not protecting you, speak up and try to explore communication intelligence to know when and how to speak. And if the workload, if it truly is the workload, and you cannot delegate because you are on the lowest level, try to sacrifice and do your best. Like Abdulhamid said and my sister, do your best. Just try to sacrifice and do your best. And pray ultimately, because even when the job seems to look so easy for you, when the problem starts, you may not even be able to handle the work. So in every situation, pray. Try to start with prayer, in between pray, and even when you are doing well, everybody is clapping, everybody is hailing you. Don't feel too big. Pray, because you don't know what is coming. You only know what you have passed through. You don't know the bigger challenge that is coming your way. Don't think your professional achievement is so much that there is nothing you cannot solve. No, there are so many things out there that you cannot stay in your line of duty. So ultimately, let us try to put Allah first. And I tell you, to the best of my knowledge, to this point of my life, and to the upcoming moment Allah will permit me to spend on this earth, Wallahi, it's been working for me. Allahu Alam. Thank you.
Well, no, not really. He's what he said is actually very, very apt. And for me, it's not, I really haven't been in a situation where I had to speak up. I have been more of the kind of person who, just like he said, I have done so much of sacrificing. Like the condition would not be, I would just be like, okay, yeah, this is not take on the job and keep learning. But of course, with my own head then used to be like, all this thing I'm taking in is just that I'm learning. It's just, so for me, every time I keep telling myself, I'm just learning from the situation, I'm just learning, and whatever I am gathering is just for my own benefit. Never, yes, I know the company is using me, but of course, this, as much as we say you can do that, you have to know your capacity, because you cannot take what will bring about more issues for you. You cannot go and have a burnout. You cannot have a mental, this work situation that the world is in now. Before you say it, somebody will say, oh, I'm mentally drained, or maybe you are, so you have to avoid anything that will drain you mentally. But if you can take it, you can take learnings from it. For me, I would say, do it then, not just because you want to do it for the company, but just because you want to take a learning from it. Because just like Brother Abdulhamid said, that could even be a way of being able to channel yourself into different aspects of that work. You can pick what can be of interest for you, and you'll be able to diversify as a result of doing that. I am been known to be somebody of doing what do you call the word now? I have a portfolio of things that I do. You see, as you are reading, you say, admit this, because I've worked with a lot of startups. And when you work with startups, you are not restricted to what they have been. They told you you're an accountant, but tomorrow they will say, because there's no HR person, you have to do HR. You have to do admin. Something is false. Khadija, come and do. So I have done admin, HR, payroll, this, that, different things all around administration and office things, just because I've worked in. And then I could do it because I didn't see it as so much, because I had the time. So if you see that it is getting too much for you, of course, yeah, you can excuse it. But if you can't take it in, just to be able to you can use it to do diversification or any other thing in the future. That's just my own advice. Yeah.
I think everybody has covered everything. Really, praying is the way forward. Yes, there's unemployment and many companies are taking advantage of that. But just pray. Whatever is yours will be yours. Once you have that mindset, you will not be afraid to lose your job or speak up when need be. if I was ever in any position like that where I had to speak up, there was a time in my company where we're supposed to implement some corrective actions because I'm an health and safety personnel, right? And those corrective actions are supposed to, make us work safely and all of that. But the company was not down to spend that money. What I just did was to document how much it will cost them if they don't implement all those corrective actions, how much it will cost them to lose a leg, how much it costs them to, because in the Middle East, there's what is called blood money. When somebody dies or cuts his leg or injures himself in the line of duty, this is the amount of money I'm going to pay for this. All I just had to do was that. Fine, it was like me poking them in the eyes and saying, look, this is what the law in this country says. If you don't implement these corrective actions and these people get injured, this is the amount you're going to be paying. So how much? And I'm telling you, for example, somebody losing his life because he falls into a ditch is going to cost you $1 million. And the corrective action you're supposed to implement is going to cost you 10,000 Qatari or whatever. So are you going to now put 10,000 Qatari against 1 million naira if the person should die? So sometimes we need to actually, but I think the best way to go about it would be when you're speaking out, you need to be very polite about it because there's this Nigerianness in us. Middle East was fun for me. Why? Because imagine I've been to an interview where the person was asking me, do I used to fight? That's how Nigerian we are. So as a health and safety personnel, you meet people that don't want to comply with the rules and regulation, and they're putting themselves in danger. I have seen Nigerians, or I've heard of Nigerians in my field that would actually go there and pick up the person that is, putting himself in danger. If the person is resisting, next thing, boom, blow, giving a blow in his head, and then they start fighting. Yeah, because he knows the implication, and the implication, for example, is now that's why I say you need to do your research very well before you travel abroad. So, as an health and safety personnel in the Middle East, you will not know this, but if somebody should die on your site, on your work site, you can actually go to jail for it. You can actually go to jail for it. Now, you're not the manager, you're not the owner of the company, you're just an employee, but your title says health and safety. So your duty is to take care of, to make sure that everybody that comes to work in full goes back in full without no injuries or whatever. So imagine me knowing that's in my head, that the work I am doing can lead me to jail if I don't do it properly. And then I now see somebody deliberately sabotaging my efforts. Of course, I'll go extreme, or I might have to go extreme. So in a nutshell, right, what I'm saying is if you're going to speak out because of whatever challenges you're facing in your workplace, please don't be scared of losing your job. I might not be in the best position to say that. It might sound like because I have a job, I'm in a more secure environment. Just have that mindset that, look, whatever is yours would always be yours. If Allah has destined it to be yours, you have to have that faith. And see, this faith, sometimes you have to be saying it, like you have to be saying it, not in my head or writing it down. You have to like, Allah knows best. Allah knows best. You have to say that, look, if this job is meant for me, then it's going to be mine. You have to actually say it. You being vocal and your ears are hearing what you are saying, not just your mind speaking and you're just thinking in your brain. You saying it out and your ears are hearing it. It would help you. It would help. Yes, I've been in positions where I'm scared of if I'm going to have my job in the next. I'll give you a sweet one. When COVID hit in March, I lost my job in December 2019. And I just told myself, yo, I'm going back to Nigeria. I'm going to go and chill in Nigeria for. And then COVID happened. And everybody was losing their job. Many companies were losing their job. And I didn't feel bad. Why? Because if I was stuck in that country when COVID hit, I won't enjoy myself because why? There's no work, there's no family to support you, there's nothing. But I took the decision to go to Nigeria and I was having the best time in my life when I was in Nigeria. While I was thinking, oh, I just lost my job and blah, blah, blah. So sometimes just leave everything to God. As long as you've put your mind to it, I mean, you've made your intentions clear, you've spoken to God, pray about it. Don't be scared of losing your job. Yes, you will lose your job, challenges will come, but Allah will help you through. God is not going to put you in a position where you're not going to be able to scale through. May Allah help us, one of us.
I mean, Jazakumullah khairan to our speakers. Thank you so much for all of the insightful, tips you've given us and, answers to the questions. May Allah reward you abundantly and increase in knowledge, inshallah.